love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won. I hope my team they won. Yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is still on the trip. My understanding, he is in Brazil, so he's probably still on the beach while we are up here freezing cold. But I guess that's appropriate because I want to recognize the oldest and the coldest Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Happy Founders Day to the brothers out there. 119 years, Charles.
119 years, Doc. 119 years of the oldest and the coldest, man. Shout out to the men of distinction. It is a huge honor to partake in another Founders Day with you good brothers.
I appreciate you. I know you're getting ready to get to Jackson, so you can partake on early stuff. So don't have too much fun before I get there. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do.
Do my best.
So just, as they say, slow your roll.
Right.
With that being said, I know we got a couple of news out there, and let's get to that as we get going. Let me open it up appropriately and say welcome to episode 751 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU diaspora, all things HBCU sports, for institutions large and small, from the NEIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington Charles Bishop, doing a Founders Day show, I guess you would call it. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live to KCOH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer, multi-Hall of Famer, that is Ralph Cooper, in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University of Houston, Texas. It is cold in this house, and I don't say that just because it's Founders Day. I'm like, no, really, it's cold. It is suspected to be cold throughout the South, which means including Jackson, where the SWAC Championship game is going to be. So I'm glad Mike is not here so he can't do his proverbial, cold is, and it's a state of mind and all that military jargon. I don't want to hear all that, man. You see my Hall of Fame, one chapter, one shield shirt, Charles. So it's 1906 official gear and PV AMU Alphas. Just thought I'd put it on there a different way to represent Prairie as we go to Jackson for this championship game. Nice A5A right there on, with the guns out.
Doc, you see Travis talking to you there?
Look at Travis. Good evening. Yeah, switch portals and switch to blue and white. yeah, transfer portal is up. Yes, it's that time. I've had to switch a little bit. We'll see what that looks like. The home team called me back in and made a couple of promises. Coach Jack, and let me say, Coach Jack has delivered on the promise. I'd appreciate that when somebody makes a promise too and delivers on it. It's not like what you can say. I know you have some big hiring news. I wanted to do Women First Series Not Dead. Southern University delivered one of the most stunning road victories in program history Tuesday night, defeating Arizona 63-57 at the Metcalf Center before a crowd of 5,245. Credit to the Southern Jaguars defeating powerhouse there, Arizona State, formerly of the Pac-12, now of the Big 12. So wanted to get that news out there in terms of what that looks like. But Charles, I know you had some hiring news. I heard we have a former star coming back home, I guess, in different ways. It's worked for some, including Jackson State. Maybe it worked for Winston-Salem State. What you got?
Yeah, looks as though, and this is according to a report from Football Scoop, that Tory Woodbury will be the new head coach at Winston-Salem State. So, former quarterback comes back to take over the Winston-Salem State program. So, kudos to Tory Woodbury.
Charles, I'm going to ask you this question. I don't know if you can answer, because I'm sure you have the answer, but what you allowed to put out there may be different. You know, HBCU Sports had on there Wilton Jackson State quarterback Jacoby and Morgan playing the SWAC Championship game. What are your, from a media standpoint, what are your thoughts in terms of what would be the consideration? Obviously, one, he had to be healthy. But from your perspective, why would you play him, or why wouldn't you play him in a matchup like this?
Well, I think the reason you would play him is, they call him the general for a reason. He's led them to a SWAC championship before, led them to a Black College National Championship. So those are the reasons that you immediately take a look at why you would play them. But, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. You got a hot freshman who's gone 5-0 under the helm, under the center. So it'll be an interesting decision. I'm sure, there will be a lot of intrigue all the way up until kickoff. But at the beginning of the week, I was thinking it should be Jacobian, but, as I progressed through the week, it's like, give Jared Lockhart an opportunity and see what happens. And, you have to sometimes go with the hot hand and let the chips fall where they may.
Let me go to our colleague here, and we're going to give him a little space, even though this is an ice cold show, Founders Day. Just so he knows not to get in too much trouble these days. But I wanted to back up and ask you this question, Wilton, on serious. What are your thoughts of Tory Woodbury, if it's correct that he will be going back to his alma mater, obviously playing with the Jets, had a stellar career when he went to Salem State. What are your thoughts on if that would be the case, that they're going to bring him in as the head coach of Winston-Salem State?
I think it would be good. I think it would be a good fit for Winston-Salem State. You talk about someone who understands the landscape of where he's going back to. Obviously has some success as well. So I think it would be a good fit for Winston-Salem State.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Any last thing, Charles? I know you're going to have to get ready to get on your plane. So we're about to take our first break and come on there. But I did want to make sure you got some parting comments before you jet on yonder, and making sure you're not sitting in any traps out there before we get there. I gotta watch Wilton over there too. I gotta watch him. He already there sitting church. Look like he on the road hotel. That's good. That way he take him a little time for he can set up anything.
No, I'm looking forward to a great contest. I think this is, we talked about it early in the week where both teams are really evenly matched, and it'll be the nuanced things, the unsung stars, if you will, who's going to make a play when it's time to make a play. I mean, and I've talked about, we know, the running backs, we know the Chase Binghams, we know, the Lamaje McDowells, we know Ahmad Miller, but who is going to make a play with regards to Prairie? Will it be Rodney Ojo? Will it be Janalen Dupree? Will it be a plethora of other names, so it's going to be very interesting to see who steps up and makes a play. I think things will come down to the last quarter, of course, probably the last 7 minutes of the game. And we've seen both teams kind of close out other teams during that, final, minutes, if you will. So I think it's going to be a really fun one. It's going to be cold. I think a lot of Jackson State fans are really excited about it, and as well as a lot of Prairie fans. So I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Good comments. If you would, Roy, go ahead and bring up the first PowerPoint there with the Founders on, and we're going to go out with the bang in terms of this segment. Founders Day, 119 years, many brothers, one house. So wanted to shout out Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated as we end this first segment, and send Charles to make sure he can catch his flight there. Wilton stay caught. We'll be right back for our first interview on the other side. We'll be right back after this break.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip-hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I guess we have Bryan coming in. Do we have none other than KJ Black in the background? I know he was supposed to come in. That was going to be our first interview. We'll see if we can get him in here and get him ready in terms of that. If not, we'll get into a little discussion here before we move forward with that. But as we do that, let me welcome in Bryan Fulford. Bryan, how are you doing today?
Oh man, I'm doing well, Doc. My rear's a little bit sore. Got kicked in today, but I mean, I'm here. The coaching life, boy, I tell you, boy, it's tough.
It could be tough. It could be tough. I think KJ Black may be having a little bit of problem. He
just came back. We got him. So when you're ready, we can bring him in.
Let's bring him in now. He is the star of the show, none other than Mr. KJ Black. He currently is a coach with the Atlanta Falcons. Previously, coached with FAMU, champion, national HBCU champion, Cricket Celebration Bowl champion. Also won the SWAC Championship game. Coach on the sideline before that. As you see in his Prairie View purple, he also is a legend down there on the hill, the other hill that we call the hill at Prairie View. We call it the real hill for you all. I know I said that when I was in Alabama yesterday. They have a true hill, but you know, it is what it is. You do that.
But HBCU is not on a hill.
Exactly. Legendary that brought Prairie View a championship in 2009 with his teammates. He was the MVP of the SWAC championship game on the offensive side. Quentin Spears was a defensive MVP on the defensive side. And it was a collective. A lot of players made plays in that game all season long, to be a fact. But wanted to bring him on to kind of bring a little bit of his expertise about the quarterback position. And what does it look like, his interest potentially in terms of leaving all that big money over there in the NFL and considering maybe coming back to the college level and looking at a head coach opportunity. But let's start off and let's say, KJ Black, how you doing?
I'm good. Just ran home to make sure I get here in time, and I barely made it, as you can see. But I'm here, and I'm excited to be here. So I appreciate you bringing me on, and just ready to talk about this game. Excited about this weekend.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Go straight into it. What is your experience, if you can kind of go back in the clock, first as a player, getting prepared to play in a championship game? What went through your head? What did you see a lot of other players? What does that look like?
Well, to be honest with you, it was a lot. You got to think about it. You're preparing for the previous 364 days for this one day, and you've been working tirelessly, doing things you want to do, things you don't want to do, knowing and hoping that you ultimately get to that moment. So just the week leading up to it, or weeks in this case, where you might get a week off, you could be pressing a little bit. And so I think, especially for the quarterback position, I think the first thing you need to do is just do what you did to get yourself there. You don't need to be anything more or anything less than what you've been, especially in the case of both of these teams that are, well-coached teams. The coaches are going to put you in a position to make plays. So my advice to both Cam Peters and whoever Jackson State decides to try out, whether it be Mr. Morgan or, Mr. Lockhart, just do what you've done to get yourself there, and then let everything else just play itself out, because you're definitely good enough to be there. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to display your talents on this upcoming Saturday.
Before I share the mic and ask the others to jump in and ask follow-up question, let me switch that. Now you're on the sideline as quarterback coach, assistant, offensive coordinator. What changes from when you were a player and all the experience that you gathered over the time as you transition to the coaching sideline, and now you're going in as part of a coaching staff? What does that look like from that perspective?
Very different. Because now, again, like I just mentioned, it is up to us to make sure that we put our players in a position to make these plays. So especially with having extra time, a lot of times as coaches, we find ourselves maybe trying to do too much or try to reinvent the wheel when we just need to, again, do what got us here. Be who we are. We should have, at this point of the year, we should have a scheme that has gotten us here, that we trust, that we have a lot of built-in reps, a lot of equity in these schemes that we've ran to get us here. So why not depend on them when it matters most? So just, going back to what you are and what you've always done should be enough, as long as you allow your players to play.
Wilton, I told you we got some legends over there at Prairie too. I'm going to let you jump in here and ask the follow-up question, sir.
KJ, it's good to have you on, man. One of my questions for you is like, when you have a team in this Prairie team that obviously they've had great success in year one under Coach Tremaine Jackson, you get to a championship. Some of these players have never been to this spot before, as in playing for a SWAC championship. How might this be different for them? I know you were just saying, like, as far as like the quarterbacks for Cam Peters and whether if it's Jacoby or Jared, like, how might this moment be a little bit different for them?
I would say and this is a different day and age. You're going from 2009 to 2025 is a
right.
big, as we can see. Think about being a 18 to 23, 24-year-old right now, having social media in the back of your mind, because I'm sure a lot of these young men are constantly on their phones. So now could they be pressing because they know any one little thing could show up on this reel later, or it could show up on Twitter later? Again, all these young men have to do is be themselves. And I know I'm beating a drum here and saying the same thing over and over, but it's the truth. You can ask anybody that's played in the championship game, the ones that pressed probably didn't perform the way that they wanted to perform. Yeah. So all these young men have to do is be themselves. I promise you that is the recipe. And again, the ones that are prepared, the ones who are the most prepared for those 364 days, it will show on this Saturday.
That's the spot that you experienced that from the Super Bowl. I'll let you jump right back in there. Okay. But I have to ask this question. How much different is that when you go to the professional level for a big game, Super Bowl and stuff like that? Is it similar?
That's a great question. So I actually asked Matthew Stafford when I got to L.A. about his anxiety playing in that Super Bowl, because, again, I had just missed him. I got there in 2022. 2021, they had the Super Bowl run. Now, I did an internship during training camp, but I did, like, how was it playing in a game that, as a 4-year-old, you're just wanting, one day to reach that dream, that pinnacle of playing in the Super Bowl. And all he could talk about was, number one, how nervous he was, running out of that tunnel with his team and pregame, the kickoff, and talking about how, the national anthem, and just seeing all the flickers and the flashes and all that stuff. But once it kicked off, after that first snap, he said he turned around and handed the ball off. It was football. So again, now instead of being a reaction or trying to react to what was going on in the game, he just relied on his teaching, on his technique, and he relied on everything that he did leading up to that moment, and the rest is history.
Perfect. Wilton, jump back in there. Now I'll go to you, Brian.
And then just a quick follow-up, KJ. With you putting your coach's hat on really quick, how impactful could both defenses be in this game? And I guess that's the first part of the question. And then the second part is, if you were playing quarterback in this game on Saturday, what would be some of the things that you would look out for the most if you were facing a Jackson State defense? Or
the cheat code now. He didn't did all this.
Look, so I think that's a great question, because I think those are two different perspectives when we're talking about Prairie View defense versus Jackson State defense. Just Jackson State in general defensively, they are led by their front seven. That's how they're going to make their hay. That's how they're going to win this game. So if I'm them or I'm facing them, one thing I have to do if I'm facing Jackson State is make sure that I don't let their front seven dominate my front seven. I know how good they are technique-wise, and I know how good they are talent-wise compared to maybe, in my opinion, what Prairie View has up front. So I have to do things to get them off their kilter, maybe put some different things and flashing different things in front of their eyes, try to get their eyes and their keys messed up as we try to manipulate ourselves down the field and find ways to run the ball, which again is what Prairie View wants to do. And then facing a Prairie View defense, Prairie View has an odd look that a lot of HBCU teams are just now for the first time really attacking or trying to attack. And so it's caused a lot of confusion. It's caused some mishaps. And I'm sure Jackson State and TC Taylor and his staff, Coach Quinn, the defensive coordinator, or excuse me, the offensive coordinator, TC Taylor, what they've been doing all week is trying to find out, all right, let me find these chinks in the armor that I have accumulated throughout the year and try to put that in my game plan to make sure I put my guys in position to make the plays. And then as a quarterback, I think just going up against Jackson State defensively, I got to make sure I'm ready to move in the pocket. You got Quincy Ivory on the edge. You know he's going to do his best to get around the edge and try to meet me at my spot, at my launch point, 8 to 9 yards in the backfield. So what I got to be prepared to do is climb the pocket while keeping my eyes down the field and make the throws that they give me. Everybody I've talked to and everybody that I've seen on social media who maybe has watched more than I have has said the same thing about Jackson State. Their secondary is where they're kind of lacking in comparison to their front seven. So as a quarterback, I got to know if I can buy that extra half second, if I can locate that seam route, that curl route, that whatever it may be down the field, as I move and manipulate through the pocket, I have a chance to make plays and get my team in position to win this game. And then for Jacoby Morgan or Jared Lockhart going against Prairie View, I think the one thing I have to do is just trust my eyes. There's a lot going on in this 3 high safety defense that Prairie View is going to be doing. So I got to make sure I see what I see and just trust it and not try to second guess myself as I'm going through my progressions. TC does a really good job with his quarterbacks of keeping it simple for him until he needs them to make a throw. What I mean by that is he'll scheme up some shallows, he'll scheme up some bubbles, he'll scheme up some quick outlet throws to get the ball out of his hand until, hey, this is a long yardage situation. Jacoby, I need you to make a throw for me here. I need you to throw this dig over the middle, or I might need you to throw this double move. But most of the time, especially early in the game, he's going to make sure he gets his quarterback comfortable until he needs him. So Jacoby just has to do what he does, just make sure he makes those easy ones, and when it's time to be the man, be the man.
Nice. Brian, jump in here. We got all these jewels jumping off here, boy. I feel like we in the lab.
For real.
Coach Black, family, what's good? How you doing, Coach? Good to see you again.
Sorry, I'm with purple, man. I got this home though. This home.
It's all good.
I did enjoy my time at FAMU now, but this is home.
Hey, no, it's all good. You're always gonna be family though, so that's why I had to represent.
Yeah, you bring a championship over there, you got that right too.
Exactly. We don't forget. I'd like for you to talk about the special relationship between the quarterback and the coach, because it is such a fascinating, but I think it's a very under talked about. And maybe because I don't know if we really know what most folks are talking about when we think about that relationship between a quarterback and a coach. And so I'd like for you to kind of maybe take us behind the curtain on what is that like through the week, and maybe even relate it back to your own personal experience and what you have seen. But I'm always just fascinated at the relationship between a quarterback and a coach, and especially in Jackson State's case where you got 2 quarterbacks, right? So, I mean, Coach Taylor has not only been training and raising up Jacoby and Morgan, but now he's got, this young pup, this young bull, and he's got to possibly rely on him. But if you would just kind of take us behind the scene on what's that like during the week, and maybe how the relationship over the course of the season is come to this point for both teams.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think it's an underrated question, something that's not talked about enough, just in general, in any space. I'm not just talking about HBCU football, but just in football in general. And I started with this. I remember when I made my transfer from Western Kentucky University to Prairie View, and I remember being in constant communication with our offensive coordinator, Mike Bryant, something that I just foreign to me because at Western Kentucky, I didn't have that type of rapport. We didn't have that type of constant communication on the field, off the field, in the meeting room. I was always picking his brain, and he was always picking my brain about what I saw, because he wanted to make sure that we seen the same thing whenever he called a play in. So if he calls a play in and I'm not sure why he's calling that play or what he's, predicting to occur on this situation, this down and distance, then I'm playing reactionary football. But if we're in sync, hey, I'm calling this dagger because I'm expecting this coverage, and I know that as he sends the play in, I can play fast. I know what's about to happen. And if I see something different, I'm sure that our communication has already been gone through those situations. So now I know, hey, if I don't get what I'm looking for on this dagger, I've got a chance to throw something else because we've talked about that. And we're on the same page, and he knows where my eyes should be, and I know where he wants my eyes. That's a very important thing. Even going back through things that may happen during the game. Right? If I may have faced adversity, maybe I've thrown 2 picks, maybe I've thrown 3 picks, but that constant communication that we've built trust in one another to where he knows how to get me back focused in the game. Because I'm sure if I've thrown some interceptions, my mind is probably everywhere. He knows how to get me back, and vice versa. If I've had a great game and I'm throwing 3 touchdowns, he can also bring me down. Hey, I need you here, because our communication is there. So communication between the quarterback and whoever's calling the plays and the head coach, because the head coach has a point in that as well, is huge, and it leads to success. And if you're not in constant communication with your quarterback, then I'm sure your success is lacking.
Appreciate
I want
that.
to get you out of here on this one. I know you have a lot ahead of you, and you made time to get in here, but appreciate you breaking down some analysis and giving us some expertise that we don't always get in terms of discussing these championship games. But I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you from this perspective. As you've learned and evolved so much on the coaching side, what would it look like? What would a college, if you were going to come back to that level, what would a college opportunity look like? What would make you even consider taking on the head coaching responsibility at the college level?
First and foremost, just an opportunity. I think, at this point in my career, now that I've been at every level, maybe not the Power 4 level, but to be in the NFL, I think you can kind of gather some of the same experiences there between the Power 4 and the NFL level. So just being able to get to this level, to pick the brains of some of the greatest minds in football has now made me want to get an opportunity to lead my own team. I've got, notebooks full of notes of listening to Sean McVay talk, listening to Mike LaFleur talk, listening to Liam Cohen talk, listening to Raheem Morris talk. And so now I've built my own thoughts the way I want to run my program whenever I get that opportunity. So I'm just looking for that opportunity. Are there things that are built in that I'm going to be looking for? Absolutely. But an opportunity is an opportunity. I think that sometimes you just know when you get that opportunity, it feels right. You're confident in it. Your support system's confident in it. And then in that case, I would jump on it. I made the joke last time I was on another show, another HBCU show. I said, my phone number hasn't changed since the 11th grade. And that's true. I haven't changed my phone number because I always want to keep that door open because I love this space. I do these shows because I love this space. I love the people in it. And they showed me what home should feel like. Once I made that transfer to Prairie View A&M, my life changed for the better. I met my wife at Prairie View. I still communicate with a lot of people at Prairie View, at FAMU. I made a lot of life friends at FAMU. So the HBCU space is home for me. So if that call came and it was the right opportunity, I would not hesitate. But I'm just excited for any opportunity, Doc, to be honest with you, because I feel like given the opportunity, I could help any program.
Certainly, I appreciate you sharing that and sharing the insight. I think given the opportunity, you'll make a world of difference, and hopefully a couple of programs see the opportunity that you will bring to the table and give you a chance to seriously talk and sit down and discuss with you what that looks like this offseason or certainly next as you continue to build and change the dynamic of what it means to be a leader coming out of the HBCU perspective. So appreciate you, Coach, for your time. Again, I know NFL coach, your time is very busy, so we didn't want to hold you up too long, but we'd be remiss if we didn't take advantage of this opportunity. So see you on the other side. I know you'll be cheering and watching.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll reach back out afterwards and give you an update. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me on.
No problem. We'll be right back after this next break, and we'll bring on some additional coaches to see if we can give some more insight from the coaching perspective, because I know you heard all week from the media pundits, and we've done what we're supposed to do and kind of talked you blue in the face, but wanted to take you from a different perspective of folks that played the game, played in championships, coached the game, played at a high level, and have won at a high level. So we'll be right back after this next break, and we'll continue to do that.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Greetings, Panthers. My name is Roland Austin, and I'm one of the directors at the 1876 Athletic Foundation. The 1876 Athletic Foundation was formed to promote the success of all 343 student athletes. Our overall goal is to fund scholarships for all of our student athletes. We ask that you help us in achieving this goal by donating to the 1876 Athletic Foundation via the QR code below or 1876.foundation. Your generous donation will help us continue to assist the needs of all of our Panther athletes. Thanks, and go Panthers.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I have 2 other legends on this show. I have none other than Coach Asberry, a head coach, coordinator, player in the SWAC, legend. I'll just put it out there. None other than Coach Asberry, head coach here at Shaw and then at Texas Southern University. And I got a chance to really build a bond. I hope he will agree with that in friendship in terms of how he builds men and young men into men and better individuals in this society. On the other side, I have a friend of his, and I thought that's why it would kind of work out that these folks have went back at it for a long time, become friends, coached against each other, coached with each other, and champions in their own right. Coach Northern, defensive coordinator for Prairie View A&M University when they won the championship in 2009. We just talked to Coach KJ Black. Led Quentin Spears and a lot of other defensive guys over there in terms of what they were able to do on the field. As I told you, Quentin Spears was the defensive MVP, I should say. Quentin Spears, I should say on that. And then he became head coach, coaching waiting. We didn't really see that a lot at the HBCU level. Did a wondrous job when that came onto the table. So welcome to the show, Coach. Hopefully I did y'all right. Y'all can make sure y'all can send me the check when y'all get a chance.
I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to bring you around with me.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Doc, you did a great job. Good being on the show.
Yes. The part that I really didn't share with these guys is they still coach, keep in tune with that, coach at the high school level. Coach, you coach championship teams at that level in terms of what you did there. But they also call the games for Prairie View. So they have a lot of insight currently. Then Asberry does it for Jackson State. So it's a uniqueness that we have in terms of this. So I'm going to start with you, Asberry. What have you seen this year that excites you about the Jackson State Tigers in terms of what they do? You can start from the defensive side of the ball because I know offense is where you made your money, but defense also wins championship.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct, Doc. Defensively, I mean, I've never seen a group of guys. I've been doing this. I've been blessed to do this a long time. But being able to see a bunch of guys that can run to the football, make plays when it's time to be made, you know, that's not rarely seen a whole lot of times. So that's you know, in those Power 5 teams and in the NFL league. But, you know, if you go back and look at the games Jackson State has been down in, and defense had to make that stop to get the ball back. They've been able to do that in the crucial games. Go back to the Alabama State game. You know, game on the line. They had to make the stop. You know, with no time on the clock, and they make it. Ashton Taylor makes the tackle, knock him out of bounds. Even in the Alcorn game, we fumbled a snap. Defense had to go out and make a big stop. But the key part of what I was impressed about the defense, say for instance, in the Alcorn game was Ashton Taylor once again. He could have easily fell on the football, but the quarterback was running right there. He knocked the quarterback out the way. That's high football IQ right there, and allowed his teammate to recover the ball. You don't see that often. You know, you see guys try to be greedy and just say, oh, I'm going to make the play. But it's a very unselfish defense, and I'm very impressed with it.
Good stuff. I'm going to go to you, Coach Northern, and obviously a defensive guru. So I'm going to ask you from the other side of the ball. What has impressed you with Prairie View's offense as you've called the game this year?
Hey, man, you got to love their running game. I don't care how you cut it up. Just the fact that whatever front you almost line up in, they're going to be able to push the ball at you. I think based off what I've seen, you got two pretty good running backs, and lo and behold, you got a pretty good offensive line that's gelling at the right time. You know, you got Bingman, who's a smaller guy, runs with power, and then you got McDowell, who's a big guy that runs with power. And I think, you know, come third or fourth quarter, a lot of those body blows that you accumulate is now you, instead of being a 3-yard run, it turns into a 5 to 7 yard run. That 7-yard run now turns into your safety or linebacker at a bad angle getting run over. So I think that's the most impressive part about the Prairie View offense, them being able to run the ball. And I'll tell you this about both teams. Both teams' wide receivers are better than most people think, but because they run the ball so well, that's, you know, you got to take them for granted, I think.
Good stuff. Bryan, are you able to bring up that picture with a SWAC Football Media Day with these two gentlemen on there? Are you able to bring that up?
I will work on it, Doc. Give me a second.
No problem. As you bringing them up, I'm going to ask this question before I allow you to follow up with some questions yourself. But I'm going to start with you, Coach Northern. Tell me something about Coach Asberry that we really don't know. Obviously, you told me some stuff. Some of that stuff we can say. There's something that you can say on that.
We get people in trouble now, Doc. Doc, hey. You'll get people in trouble on this.
I know. That's like, I had to get the caveat because these guys, oh man, while they are serious in terms of what they do with their craft, and as I said, really build young men and women that are around the program. We don't always give credit for that. That they build sisters too, and young men to talk about how do they work with young ladies in those environments to be professional in terms of what that looks like in young adults. But on the other side, they know how to have fun too. I mean, it's a lot of stress in what's going on. So if you would, Coach Northern, share something about Asberry. And Asberry, I'm going to give you a little time to think about it because you get to share something about Northern.
Hey, you know what? I'll take this, we always sort of mess with DA or Darrell about not being the smartest guy. Now, he made good grades, but we would always mess with him about not being smart at different times. So the thing about it is I was his backup most of the time. A lot of people don't know we went to the same high school together as well. So I was served as his backup. And, man, it was hard for me to get on the field sometimes because of the way that he played. Outstanding for us at the lab school. I want to say every year Thanksgiving we were still playing. But I tell you what, man, we have a good time when we get together in Baton Rouge. I'm going to say, I don't know if TJ Ribs is a good spot for us to get together to get a beverage and some ribs or some nice barbecue chicken and stuff like that. But other than that, man, like I say, man, we go way back 2 streets apart, both guys, same high school. I transferred, and then both of us end up being able to play in the SWAC, and both of us having success. And let me tell you this one story. So I sent you a picture of me chasing Coach Asberry out of bounds, and we're playing in Baton Rouge. Now, I probably tackled him in the mud, on the track, out of bounds, way out of bounds. But the funniest thing about that game, after the game at Southern, we used to have to walk to the dome. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. It was an older lady, I should say, from Jackson State, walking across the practice field at Southern. She dropped her pom-pom. And I say, ma'am, excuse me, but here's your pom-pom. You dropped it on the field back then. I caught up with her. And she said, oh, thank you. I didn't think you would be nice after the way we kicked y'all blank. And I think they might have won by 2 points or something. But I'm going to always remember that story. But look, I love Jackson State with a passion. I'm looking forward to being there. But that's my guy, though, for real.
I see. Great information. Asberry, your turn. What you got on Coach North?
Well, I tell you, everything he said is true. I can't deny that. I'm glad he didn't mention all the spots we hang out. but I tell you what, Coach took one of the stories from me, man. We high school teammates. We go way back. We're gonna be one thing I can say. Nothing will ever separate me and Coach Northern. Nobody will ever come between us. The part where he said he tackled me out of bounds, that's the part I was gonna tell y'all. But he didn't tell you what he told me when he slammed me to the mud.
Yeah.
He said, homeboy, you should have took your ass up there. It's gonna be like this all night long. He threw me down the mud. So, but I tell you what, Doc, let me say this. When Coach Northern went through his transition at Prairie, I said to myself, it was just a matter of time before I could get him on the phone.
Right.
I'm that type of guy. That's my friend. Yeah. He's a great football coach, a hell of a defensive coordinator, and I refuse to let him be out there a second longer. And I picked up the phone. I said, I was going to call it. What you going to do? I said, I'm calling my own boy. That's what I'm going to do. Because he'll do the same for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to let him sit out there. And that's what has changed right now. We don't look out for each other anymore. But I wasn't going to allow him to sit out there. And we came together. We worked together. We still best friends to this day. And I just tell you, man, this is my guy. And I'm looking forward to seeing him on tomorrow when you get here. Because when he told me he was coming to town tomorrow, I'm gonna wait around. We gonna hang out and get a little barbecue or something tomorrow.
Man, I ain't get to ride that. I want some of that barbecue too, but I'm gonna have to find a way to take both of y'all out so I can get some of them real stories again.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, Doc. But I love him, Doc. I mean, that's my guy. He know how I feel about it. Now this is the part he don't like me to talk about, Doc, but I gotta be honest.
Go ahead.
Those Northern, I have 5 strong supporters with my program, and he is one of those 5.
Wow.
He does not let my program go without. He and his wife are very strong supporters, and I want to say that to him, that from my heart to my wife to the Southern Lab family, we appreciate him and his wife. We really do.
That's real. I'm glad that you put that out there as important. Bryan, let's take this quick break, and then you can come back on the other side and pull those up, and then I'll let you get into the dialogue and ask some questions.
Sounds good.
Football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU stories with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
With over 25 years of serving our communities, Destiny Financial Services, a division of Global Life, is here to help you and your family through difficult times. From cancer care to accidental industries to cardiac care, we all know that there are times that you can't control what happens in your life, but you can be prepared to weather the storm when it comes. Call DFS at 877-300-8269 or visit the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com. That is 877-300-8269, or again, the website at www.globelifeinsurance.com.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment. Charles said he was going to stay around it, but then Coach Asberry here, you coming over here, he didn't want to get in trouble. No, seriously, he was catching a plane ride. With that, go ahead, Bryan. Bring up the pictures, then I'll let you ask your follow-up questions.
So, Doc, I think this is the photo that you were referencing. Is this it?
Yeah, that's it. That is the 2 coaches, friends, back in their playing days. Asberry, quarterback of Jackson State University, and you see Southern, Coach Northern in his playing days, heading towards that sideline to take out his friend and tell him, boy, you went to the wrong school. It's gonna be
That's it, Doc. That's the one he tried to
clean. Asberry clean. You finna dirty him all up.
Yeah, he got me on my sideline too, Doc.
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild. Go ahead. This is the other one there. I think this is historic. When you think about it, you sit back and when y'all finally hang up your whistles, if you would, and sit back, this is going to be one that's legendary where y'all literally got a chance to be head coach. And intriguing, while y'all played for the same high school and then went to rival SWAC institutions, you go ahead and you at that time you were leading two programs in Texas rival institutions. That's pretty cool. And this goes back to the SWAC Football Media Day. What year was this, Coach?
I think that was Coach Asberry's first year at Texas Southern, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Good deal. Good deal. Good. Go ahead, Bryan. Ask your question.
Well, hey, coaches, this real quick. I look. I'm looking at this game, and we've got a game that features two of the best offense, two of the top three offenses, two of the top three defenses, and I'm just trying to find out what is the minute difference from one side versus the other. For example, we all familiar with Jackson State's run offense, one of the nation's best, right? But statistically, Prairie View's passing game is just a little bit higher rated, higher ranked than Jackson State's. But then on the other side, both defenses are top three defenses. So in your opinion, what is the one or two things that separates one side of the ball versus the other? Like, where should our eyes really be focused as we watch this game coming up on Saturday?
I think it's going to come down, like everybody else says, it's going to come down to the trench play, but it may be some big plays, in my opinion, who can stop the run while still being able to play zone defense. Because if you have to play man, you're going to set yourself up for some double moves, some rub routes, and all that type of stuff. So I think that's going to be the key. I think it's going to be a little bit harder because of the style of defense that Prairie View plays, maybe for Jackson to throw the ball. But at the same time, if they can run it, then you can sort of force the defense into playing cover one or cover three. And then you can take advantage of, like I say, the double moves, the rubs, and the picks. So that's what I think. The other thing that not a lot of people are talking about is the return game by both schools. Both schools have special return guys, and that may be the difference in the game being broken open third or fourth quarter, a kick return or a punt return here or there.
Asberry?
Well, I agree with one great thing Coach said was the kicking game. It's going to come down to that kicking game. Defensively, Jackson State, when they apply pressure, they apply pressure, and you have those front three guys plus those two hip guys sitting outside. They're grown men out there, and running the football, a lot of teams, they start off having success doing that to them, but once they start figuring it out, it's tough to run the football against those guys. So they are very talented inside and in the trenches. Offensive line play has been really good these last down the stretch. The run game you're talking about, those two running backs Jackson State have, those big backs, and then you have the slasher that gets in. It's going to be real interesting. I do think it's going to come down to big plays as well. Who's going to make the big plays? And once that crowd gets involved, the question becomes, can Prairie View control the 12th man? And once that 12th man gets involved, it's a lot of things go on when that 12th man gets involved.
I agree that certainly when you talk about the crowd, Jackson State, Southern FAMU for a couple of them, even Alabama State, we've seen it. When they get to going, boy, they can get lathered up pretty good there. Let me ask you from this perspective, Bryan, unless you had a follow-up question you wanted to do.
No, go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, so I want to ask you from this perspective, take us a little bit in terms of the week leading up to this as you start looking at looking at film and then putting your game plan together. What does that look like? And I'll start with you, Coach Northern, then Asberry. I want to hear from your perspective.
So I think the big difference is that I think plays a little bit into Jackson's favor. They have 2 weeks to prepare for a defense that nobody else in the conference plays. But I think you have to treat it like a typical week from you have your game plan set, you have your additional plays that you might want to add off of what you already do. And then now it's just let's go out there and execute. Since you've had 2 weeks, almost the last couple of days, to be honest with you, can get boring in the film room. So you have to make sure guys are woke, make sure they're paying attention. You might even call a play that you think you're going to run in that situation. And I want to hear everybody check, what do you think going to happen in this situation type of stuff. So like I said, it can get a bit monotonous, but at the end of the day, it's going to come down to jokers making plays and sort of who's going to flinch first type of game. Because I think it's going to be close, but at the end, I think it's going to be a couple plays that's going to cause some separation.
Coach Asberry, your perspective, what does that look like as you leading the team in terms of a championship scenario?
Well, I think the 2 weeks of preparation is good. I think you continue to rep what you do well, but you try to rep it against that. Some people say it's a 3-3-5, what they're playing. I don't know what they call it, but it's a lot of things that you have to make sure that you can do. Number one, you have to be able to run the football. And once you establish that run game, the run game will make you have to adjust some things. I used to be a pass happy guy. I used to love that. But down the stretch in my later careers, what I learned that if I can run the football on you, I can make you do some things that you really don't want to do. Maybe load the box up a little bit more to create some one-on-one mismatches. Make you bring some safeties down. Now I can threaten some people like I want to threaten them. But I think the big piece is gonna be making sure both teams eliminate the penalties. Because penalties can be a game changer.
Yep. Good stuff. Let me stay with you, Coach Asberry, and ask you from this perspective. What is the difference of players when you play, you and Coach Northern played, then when you were coaching and what you see now? Not saying they're good, bad, or different, but just what is the difference that fans over the years that follow this may not really understand or see from that perspective?
Well, when we played, the game was a whole lot more physical. They didn't have all these whistles. wasn't no targeting and all that. You just got knocked out. You got knocked out. There's a lot of protection going on right now. But, I just think that, the kids are different. When you look at it, the NIL money is different.
Yeah.
So that changes a whole lot of things in the game.
Right.
I don't think coaching has changed. Coaching is coaching. The only difference with coaching is terminology.
Yeah.
Some people call zone read where the quarterback pull it and the running back the quarterback go one way. We call it just zone read. Well, some people call it you put the running back on one side, send him another way, and the back go another way. They say it's split zone. I asked the guy the other day, I said, man, what you call split zone? I said, well, hell, I was doing that 20 years ago. I just called it zone read.
Yeah.
So it's just terminology. I think that this game, the kids are a lot different for good and bad. But it's still a physical ball game on defense. I don't think the defensive style of play has changed. I think these guys have been a whole lot more physical. Now, offensively, it's a lot more finesse play. It's not a whole lot of pounding anymore. It's a lot of finesse play going on.
Good. Northern, you have anything different than you see?
Yeah, it's a lot of the same, but I think it's just a mentality. As coaches now, you may have to tell more why Whereas back in the day when your coach told you something, they were just, oh, yes, sir, coach. And they didn't want to hear anything back. You have to adapt to the times. And you like a coach said, man, everybody loves discipline if they feel like you care for them. I think you can tell a kid anything. And this one thing I learned from an older coach. You can, and I'm not a big cursor, you can tell a kid and cuss them up and down as long as you put your arm around them at the end of the day or go check on them in the locker room. And you have to get kids to understand, take what I said, not how I said it, and don't take it personal. And then I'm talking to everybody. It may just be you think I'm talking to you, but I'm really talking to everybody. So I think that's the big difference now. You have to explain yourself more, which some people hate to do, but you really have to with this new generation of kids.
Two more, and I'll get y'all out of here on this one. What are your top 2-3 keys? And I think you talked about this a little bit, but I want it on the record. Coach Asberry, what are the top 2 or 3 things that Jackson has to do to be successful in this game?
Well, I think for us, we just need to eliminate the penalties, get off to a fast start, of course, establish the run game, and win the kicking game. I think that will put us where we need to be. Defense is going to be defense. They're going to fly to the football. They're going to make the plays, capitalize in the red zone when we have opportunity. I think everything will be okay.
Good stuff. Coach Norton, top 2 or 3 things that Prairie has to do to be successful in this matchup.
I think a lot of times when they've been very successful, they've been successful because of where they start field position wise, and when they don't turn the ball over, they've been pretty hard to beat. Maybe one turnover, but when they have multiple, it's not good for them. So that's going to be the biggest thing. Where they start, whether it's field position, by special teams, or where defense gets a 3 and out. Jackson State punter is not the best in the world, so I think that's going to be a key. But the other thing is, and as coach talk, whoever win the turnover battle is probably going to win the game if you look at it at the end of the day.
Yeah, coach talk is important. Oftentimes it would have come down to, so no problem with that. We don't have to sell wolf tickets. We brought you on here as experts to talk the game from your perspective. Bryan, any last thing you want to get out there before I call it a show? You on mute.
Yeah, sorry about that, Doc. For those, I will say this. For those who think about these kinds of look at these things, somehow the people in Las Vegas see Jackson State winning this game by more than a touchdown. I will tell you, if you got a Christmas bonus, put that Christmas bonus on Prairie View covering that touchdown. That's all I'm gonna tell y'all to do. Just some friendly advice from what I have seen from Prairie View this season. I'm not gonna say who's gonna win or lose, but for those of us who pay attention to those kind of things, I'd be shocked if Jackson State won by more than a touchdown. That's all I'm gonna tell you.
I love having Bryan on here because he's one of the few folks that is an expert in taking black college. He does it at all levels, but taking black college to the point where folks are interested in the betting lines, which tells you where the game is going. Quickly, Asberry, where do you see the conference going in terms of what, under the leadership of the commissioner, Dr. Charles McCullen? Obviously, you had him as an AD here at Texas Southern University. Oddly enough, Coach Northern, you had him also there at Prairie View. Where do you see the conference going from your perspective?
Well, for me, I see it going nowhere but up, Doc. I mean, you're on television every week. That's what we've been asking for. That's what we're getting. Giving back to the schools. Nowhere but up. I am very, very impressed with how this conference is going, and I can't wait to see it, 5-10 years from now.
Good stuff. Coach Northern.
I'm thinking the same way with the exposure that guys are getting. Even with the games coming on TV, I'm sure the SWAC is still going to be tops in attendance. I think that's big. I think the biggest thing is how do we, monetize the product on the field a little bit better with our own institutions maybe dipping into the city a little bit more. And I think that's one of the great advantages. Like a school like Jackson State, they the only show in town, so they can dip a little bit more. But some of the other schools got to find a way to get more people involved that don't even directly have a contact to the university. I think that's the biggest thing. But I like the way we headed being on TV, and like I say, it's nothing but up from there.
I started with you, Coach Northern. So Asberry, I'm gonna let you tell the last story on your friend, Coach Northern. Anything you want to add that you can get out there, so you can have a last little laugh there.
I missed part of it. I'm sorry.
Talking about Asberry.
Okay.
So yeah, story.
Well, Doc, you know, our college days were our best days. Let me say that. And as Rick Flair would say, Doc, we Rick Flair all night long.
Coach Northern, anything you want to add to that?
Nah, man. I'm looking forward to getting back to the Rouge, and I tell people this.
Don't eat all that barbecue chicken now.
Nah, I'm not. But look, I really do love the environment in Jackson. You can't beat it. And I say it over and over again. I want to get to the stadium early and walk around both sides of the stadium, and hopefully, if me and Asberry together, he'll give me right on the right tailgate. It's a couple people that's in this space that I want to meet and just shake your hand and say, hey, man, I really like what you're doing in this space, promoting the HBCUs, and I really love it. So I'm looking forward to being there early, and I'm looking forward to a good game. I'm gonna get in the press box early just so I can see the boom march in. You know, take it for granted. I'm not gonna take it for granted.
Oh, good stuff. With that, I appreciate you, Bryan. Great question you asked there. Let me say thank you for listening inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Watts, Charles Bishop. Hope you enjoyed our interview. We had Coach KJ Black on earlier, talking about from the quarterback position directly, the NFL connection. And then we have none other than Coach Asberry and Coach Northern talking about their time leading programs in the SWAC and what they are doing now, leading young men in their own perspective and calling the game. So you get some insight so you can really understand the voice of when you hear these individuals calling the game and understand why they can see things that you don't necessarily see because they have led not only from being on the field, but also leading the field outside of it as coaches. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sunday at 9 a.m. I'm so glad that we got out of here without them telling the story on me. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram, DrKenyattaCavil. Get out of here before they do that. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab.
All I can say is Houston, Texas, don't hold me nothing.
Hey, that laugh, I can tell there's some stories. That laugh
yes,
right there, my coach. Oh,
all I can say is Houston, Texas, don't hold me nothing.
I hear you. We will talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Bryan,
course.
Lecture dismissed.